Hello, I'm Assistant Managing Editor Gabe Whisnant, joined today by Eric Boynton. Eric covers a little bit of everything for the Herald-Journal, but obviously once college football season rolls around, he locks into the college game. He'll be beginning his 15th season of covering high school, college, everything at the Herald-Journal. So obviously another person on the staff with a wealth of knowledge about everything going on. So college football, we have to start with Clemson. Pretty good year last year, I'd say, if national championships are what you're into. So this year, expectations are high again. Number 5 in both polls, number 2 in the ACC, Atlantic coming in behind FSU. If they're going to get back there, if they're going to get back to the playoffs, what do you see as the number one key?
Well, obviously the biggest factor is replacing Deshaun Watson. I mean, a generational talent, obviously the best quarterback in school history, and a guy that was, the X factor in a number of close ball games, not just last year, but the last 2 years when they reached the national championship game. So usually when it came down to crunch time, Clemson had the best player on the field, no matter who they were playing. That's no longer the case. It's now going to be Kelly Bryant's chance, a junior from Wren High School who's had exactly 100 career snaps, never really played in any games of any meaning, so this is going to be brand new for him. But he won a 3-man battle for quarterback to start the season. We'll see what he looks like against Kent State. At least he has a little bit of a learning curve against an overmatched opponent on Saturday. So that's the big question mark right there. He's got four linemen back, starting offensive linemen, a number of good players at wide receiver and running back, and a defense that should be as good as we've seen in the Dabo Swinney tenure. So all the pieces are in place for them to have another very special season if they can get at least solid play out of that quarterback position.
And staying at Clemson locally, we've got a true sophomore out of Spartanburg High, Tavian Feaster. Obviously, the ball wasn't in his hands a whole lot last year. Expected to be in his hands this year. How do you see him fitting into their scheme?
Well, C.J. Fuller, Jr. is going to get the start the season off. They just have a lot of confidence in him. He really came on at the end of last year. Of course, they had Wayne Gallman, a workhorse who's now in the NFL with the New York Giants. But, you're going to get Tavian's going to get his chance. He just didn't get the opportunities last year. Coaching staff just was not confident in what Tavian was doing as far as the blocking schemes, having a full knowledge of the playbook. They were afraid maybe he misses a blitzer and gets Deshaun Watson killed back there and only take one play. Right. So there was just guys with more experience as far as the overall scheme that they liked. But really, we haven't had a guy in a long time. A lot of comparisons to C.J. Spiller for Feaster, wears the same number, so there's that parallel. But they haven't really had that home run threat. As great as Gallman was, he really wasn't a threat to take it to the house anywhere and anytime he touched the football. Tavian gives him that explosiveness. I mean, he's got elite track level speed. So, I mean, he's a guy that he just has to make the most of his early opportunities, and I don't think anybody would be surprised if he took over that number 1 spot a few weeks into the season, by midway point of the season. But even if he doesn't, you're going to see him get a whole lot of opportunities this year. That's something that didn't happen last year, and like I said, just a dynamic guy with the ball in his hands.
And obviously the cover for our college football preview section, so if you haven't checked that out yet, be sure to try to get a copy of Wednesday's edition and check that out with all sorts of previews about all of our college teams. We'll move on to the Gamecocks now. And our local angle on that team is Devo Samuel, wide receiver, redshirt junior, preseason third team all SEC, first team all Athlon, all purpose. What's the key to his performance this year at USC?
Devo, another, like Feaster, very dynamic guy. When the ball's in his hands, they want to get him out in space. He's a guy that's elusive. He has great straight line speed. Just got to keep him healthy. And Will Muschamp was talking a good bit about that in the weeks now leading up to camp and over the course of their August camp. Devo's had a lot of hamstring issues that have plagued him in both seasons, and he's a guy to where, with speed being the ultimate part of his game, he's not a guy that's can really fight through injuries because it's such a detriment to what he does. So he's not a particularly big guy. His game's not power. It's all really based on speed. So if they can keep him healthy, That's the big key, and they've already made some strides this offseason. They've changed his conditioning a little bit. He's added yoga to his routine.
Nice.
They've really pleaded with him to really stay more hydrated, and they've actually cut back on his reps in the preseason. It's been all about keeping Devo at 100% and on the field, and he is just the ultimate difference maker in that offense. And like Muschamp said, when he's healthy and he's out there, he's an elite player in the Southeastern Conference, no doubt.
And we'll move to the college or to the pro game. We've got a handful of guys either going to make rosters or looking to make rosters. Maybe go down the line as far as our guys at the next level, starting with a couple of guys who are wide receivers looking to make key roles with their teams.
Yes, well, we got Adam. The two main guys right now in the NFL are Adam Humphries and Sharon Peake, both Dorman and Clemson alums, both at the wide receiver position. Adam actually had a breakout season with Tampa Bay last year, his second year in the league. He actually became their third guy behind Vincent Jackson and behind Mike Evans, who's one of the best young wideouts in the league, and had just got a wonderful amount of opportunities and really solidified himself as a big part of that offense last year. Jackson, I forget if he's with the team still. Even if he is, he's just gotten older. He's really on the downslope.
Right.
They did add Deshaun Jackson, a big playmaker, may cut a little bit into what Adam does, but still in line to really be a big part of that offense. Sharon, guy, second year now for him. He didn't get a ton of opportunity last year. He was on the 53-man roster the whole way. The Jets gave up a couple of veterans at the position, Eric Decker and Brandon Marshall in this offseason. And then Quincy Anunwa, their top guy coming back, not a household name by any stretch, but their top returning leading receiver, was hurt as a neck injury. He's out for the whole season. So Sharon really looks like he may be a right place, right time guy as far as really getting an uptick in what he gets to do this year. So it's going to be very interesting to see if he can kind of make that breakthrough in year two that Adam made. Got a few other guys that are battling to make rosters. There's the final cut down to the 53-man comes up by this Saturday. Those have to be made. We have Trey Robinson, the former Dorman and now and Furman safety. Actually, he was a quarterback at Dorman, but he's trying out right now for the New York Giants. He's in their camp. Javarius Lehman, the big offensive lineman from Woodruff who played at SC State. Javarius is in the Jets camp, so we'll see if he can hold on and make the roster. And we've also got Brandon Thomas, another former Dorman Clemson guy, offensive lineman. He was a third-round pick a couple of years back by the 49ers, traded to the Lions. Now he hasn't really gotten a chance to play much, and we'll see if he can hold on and make that 53-man roster. But those are our main guys, and one other guy we'll mention, B.J. Johnson, the former Woodruff wide receiver. He made the 49ers, got into their camp, but blew out his Achilles a couple of practices in, which was a real shame for him. But maybe we'll see him back in the future. So yes, some really nice things going on as far as our local former high school stars.
Yeah, I mean, it really goes to show the hotbed that this area is when you can go down a list like that and really just continue to list names both at the college and the pro level. And we'll get into all that as the season goes on and keep following those guys' progress. That'll wrap it up for this week. Continue to follow us online and checking out Eric's stories as the season goes on.